The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
This is not a test. This is reality.
It's the weekend, and we are going beyond the strange with host Dave Cruz on Spaced Out Saturday Nights.
Dave's the killer! Yeah! Dave's the killer! Dave's a mess.
When the clocks, they never stop, they barricade my face.
You can follow Dave on Twitter at StrangeDave70. Hit him up on Skype, Strange Days 2015. And you can follow Dave on our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Things are prey. I push until I break. I feel them start to scrape. The core of all I am is chiseling away. And every speck of life is gone right away in time. We turn to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct, love is to deny. And that is life.
The probability is low, but the discoveries of the Kepler mission suggest that there are billions of habitable planets in our galaxy alone. And there are at least 100 billion galaxies in the visible universe. So it seems likely that there are others out there.
Now, get your tinfoil hats on tight as Spaced Out Saturday with Dave Cruz begins right now.
You're here to turn me inside out and then turn me away. For all my life I choke on clouds of savior smoke until my blackened soul was burning away. And every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. Return to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct to love is to deny.
Hola, everyone. Welcome to Spaced Out Saturday Night. I am your host, Dave Cruz. Nice to be here with y'all tonight on this Saturday, November 18th, Sunday, November 19th. If you're on the East Coast, we are live from the Napa Valley wine country just outside the mystical Sonoma Mountains. Let's welcome in everyone listening in on our terrestrial stations. WQEE 99 Rock the Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. You can also listen to us live on spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker.com, KTLK, The Fringe FM. Like our music, then rock with us to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy. Bumblefoot is the official sound of the mighty SOR. Also, you can check us out on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show on Instagram. You can follow me at StrangeDave70. Subscribe to our new channel, our new YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. Like us in the U.S. on iHeartRadio. Tune us in on TuneIn Radio. Download our shows from iTunes. And we are also on RadioGuide.fm, TalkStream Live, and on Stitcher. And of course, our website is spacedoutradio.com. If you go to patreon.com for as low as $1 a month, you can become a patron of Spaced Out Radio. If you want to take part in the show, please sign into one of our chat rooms on our website at Spreaker.com, the UPRN chat room, and on Facebook at SOR Space Travelers Facebook page. Or if you're on Twitter, just go to the hashtag Spaced Out Radio. And I'll try to get your questions in there as best as I can. Head over to our website for just $5 a month. You can become an SOR Space Traveler. And as of right now, you can go to the Spaced Out Radio store, pick up some t-shirts, some posters, get an SOR sticker. We have the Encounter online that deals with everything paranormal, courtesy of our editors, Eric Markham and Everett Thiemer. You can check out Dave Scott's latest blog there as well. And if you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report. Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers and Leslie Mitchell Clark's Contact TV also have some great video viewing as well. Now, it really saddens me to report a very tragic loss in the rock and roll community today. Malcolm Young, AC/DC's guitarist and co-founder, has died. The musician who co-founded Australian rock legends in 1973 with brother Angus Young dies following battle with dementia. Young had been suffering with dementia for the past 3 years, an illness that forced his retirement from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted band that he founded with his brother Angus. The Young brothers, along with AC/DC, were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2003. With over 110 million albums sold, AC/DC is also the best-selling Australian act of all time. You can read more about Young's career at rollingstone.com. Malcolm Young was 64. May he rest in peace. I want to thank everyone for welcoming Joe Roop last weekend. Deb and I were away at a resort in Bend, Oregon, and we really needed a much getaway. And I want to say again, thank you so much, Mr. Joe Roop. Joe will be back at the end of this, well, actually at the beginning of December, I should say, when he permanently takes over for me on Spaced Out Saturday. I can't think of anyone else to take over the reins for the first half of Spaced Out Weekend. I'm really going to miss you guys, but my obligations are very great on the weekend, and I have to answer the call. So I'm sorry that I have to leave you guys on Saturday nights, but I have to do what I have to do, and it's been an honor and a privilege to do the radio show every Saturday night since Dave Scott has asked me. And again, I want to thank our commander for Spaced Out Radio, Dave Scott, for having me aboard this wild ride we call Spaced Out Radio. But don't forget, I am on social media. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, and you can still hear me on my show Beyond the Strange on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you ever need information about that, you can always go to www.beyondthestrange.com for any information, updates, and links, and what I'll be doing as well. So I have one more Saturday night next week, and that's going to be with Kabbalist and much, much more, Mr. Paul Francis Young. You don't want to miss that show. Believe me, it's going to be awesome. And I really appreciate everyone in the chat. Everyone has been awesome. Catalina, Ron, Beyond the Omniverse, Deb, Joe, everyone in there. I mean, even the people who are coming in now that are great. I mean, Tina, thank you very much. Sandra, Milo, you guys are all great. Sunrise, all you guys in the Spreaker chat, everyone at Facebook, Michael, Tanya, all of you guys have been wonderful. And Dennis, you guys have just been great. So again, I just want to, thank all of you guys for being, here tonight and all the other nights, and next week again, it's going to be great. So don't go anywhere. And remember to give Joe Roop a wonderful, wonderful welcome when he takes over. All right. Our guest tonight is Athena Zeub, and Athena would like to open a whole new world to you through an amazing contact that has recently come forward. It was very hard for her to come up with the right words to tell you because even she knows it sounds unbelievable. The people of Orion say they are the people who are God's right hands. Her understanding is they do the job for God. Their job is to preserve peace and balance of the worlds. They put people on the planet, and they still protect and watch over us. They are the ones often referred to as the Watchers. So join us right now for a fascinating topic about the people from the Orions, and hear the messages they have for us about our past, present, and future. So please help me, everyone. Welcome Athena Zeub. Athena, thank you for being here, and welcome to Spaced Out Radio Saturday night.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. So it's going to be a fun night. I have a lot of interesting things to say. Good information.
You are more than welcome, Athena. I am so happy that you're here tonight, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come on the show. So, once again, this is an amazing topic. I've heard of different constellations and different types of extraterrestrials, and we met a while back ago, and you were good enough to send me a copy of your book, Theologians of the Orions, and that answers lots and lots of questions that people have. And so I kind of want to begin the show with asking you, who are the Orions, if you don't mind?
Well, they say that they are biblical people, and they are the ones, like you said in the introduction, they are the ones who watch over us. But they are the oldest advanced race. They are the first advanced race that God created. God created them to do the work for him. He created them. He taught them to create, and through time and error, they created us. If you want to know about, a little bit about them, they say that they say they're more scientific than they are biblical. But they are our forefathers. They are the predecessors, the successors to our forefathers. Our forefathers are long gone. They're the ones who came after, of course. But they do say that they can live as long as they want to, but they don't want to. But they are the watchers. If you want to know a little bit about them, they are when they created people, they didn't get it right the first time. It took them a little bit of time to get that down. So they said when they created us, they pulled DNA from all these different planets, and they said they got a glitch in the DNA, and what they got was the Neanderthal. And so it took time and error, and then finally they arrived at the human being. They did say that God did put people on the planet. He put Adam and Eve on the planet, and he also put a few others. But, we only hear just a little bit from what was handed down to us and put in Bibles. We only just got a little bit of the story. We didn't get everything. So I have a little bit more of the story to share. Trying to fill in some of those gaps.
Right. You do that, in the book, and great book, by the way.
Thanks.
And it starts off again. You do answer, or the Orions answer a lot of questions. And this is through the channeling that your mom does, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And just to kind of give the audience a little bit more background, when did this all start happening, as far as the contact goes? Was this something that happened during your childhood, or growing up later on? How did this work?
Well, it didn't all become apparent until 2012. However, I did have things, and my mother as well. We had things happen to us that were odd when we were younger. And for me, it started when I was about 3. But our awakening didn't happen until 2012. And so what happened was, and I'll just kind of start there in 2012. And I can kind of come back at the things that gave me little clues when I was younger.
No worries.
So in 2012, my mom started drawing all these pictures, and she said that she would just become obsessed for about 30 minutes, and she just kept drawing one after another, and they were just people, drawings of people, and some of them are a little different looking, and with reptilian eyes, but they're human looking, and one of them looked like a monkey, a monkey type face with reptilian eyes. And so she didn't really think much of it because, I guess she just didn't know what to think of it. So, and I didn't even know about it, that she was drawing these pictures. But in 2012, at the same time, that's when I became very sick. And I had to leave my career. I was at this career for 11 years, and I had to leave because, from illness. There was like a sick building syndrome, so I couldn't actually be at that job. And anyway, that's a long story. But anyway, so what it did was I was able to have all this time off because it was first of all, it was a very stressful job, and my mind was always occupied with work. I was putting in a lot of overtime, so I didn't have time to think about the things that I thought about when I was younger. And so the things that I thought about when I was younger was growing up, just really wanting to know, how did all of this happen? Is there a God? And I questioned it. Is there a God? And I'd walk outside and I'd look around at everything that's around us, and I'd say, how did this all get here? I just knew it didn't just come out of nowhere. People just don't spring up, So eventually I said to myself, there has to be a God. There has to be. But I desperately wanted to know. I just wanted that some like the proof to come to me somehow. I wanted to know something. And I was really amazed that it actually happened. It came to me in this form, but it didn't just come to us by chance. This is something that's been planned for a long time, and that's why I say that, because this started from when I was little. I'm actually going to say before we even came here. So, but my mother's story is that she, one of the reasons why I looked into ufology was because she told me she had a sighting in the late 50s. And so when I was off of work, it gave me time to look back into those things. Like I said, well, I wonder what's being said about our origins now. And so I started doing research online, and finally that took me to finding the UFO conference. And so I went to my first UFO conference in early 2013, and it was then, at that time, and even during the conference, I had some experiences there, and that's when everything started happening. And all of a sudden, I had this amazing awakening with all kinds of visions and dream interactions. I had a visit from Jesus. It was like a vision that came to me, like in between the sleep and the awake state.
Okay. Clarity, real quick. This is not. This is all you. This isn't your mom quite yet.
Yeah, not yet. And I can get to her sighting. Unless you want to go on, I can go into that now if you'd like.
No. Please go on. I just want to clarify for the audience that this is you, because this is two different things going on. With you and then with your mom channeling. So you're, excuse me, your cough button. You're getting visions and dreams, and it talks about this in the book, of different messages, so to speak, correct?
Yeah, I was getting my own. I was having my own awakening and having my own communication, but it was just not like my mom's. My mom's is it was full on there all the time. Right. Mine was just sparse, coming in and out. But I had the visit from Jesus, and a picture was put in my mind of Jesus. And when I realized who it was that I was looking at in this picture, I got the overwhelming feeling of unconditional love. And it was incredible.
Can Can I ask you
So,
what Jesus looked like to you in your vision?
I can't say that. I can't say that his face was perfect, but he did have the white robe, like everybody says. He had the white robe, and I did move up to his face, and he had the brown hair. So I don't really remember, but I remember that he did look similar to what we think he looks like. So in this picture, he was standing in a path, but he was kind of like to the side of the path, like there was room for somebody else there. And I felt like I was getting the message, when you're ready, come join me. It was an amazing thing for. I was also getting. So what was really real to me was the fact that I got that vision and I got the feeling in my body, and it wasn't a dream. It definitely was not a dream. So also during this awakening, one day I also had another vision, but this time my eyes were open, and it was like a picture that they take and flash in front of your eyes. And the picture moved from my right eye all the way to my left, kind of like playing like a movie. And what it was is it looked just like Jesus's tomb. And it was pretty wild. It was really wild, and I just can't explain how all the stuff, what this was like, if you could only just experience it yourself. It's amazing. And that's kind of the kind of communication. My mother gets that as well. She gets these flashes in front of her eyes. Then I had a dream that came true. So what happened was, I had this, like I said, ever since I went to this UFO conference, everything just started exploding, and the next 4 months is full of visions and things like this. So I had this dream. I was going camping, and I was outside with friends, and we saw a bunch of UFOs zipping around. Then I went to bed, and I saw a gray in the camp, and it scared me. And then just then, everything went black, and something entered my brain right behind my forehead. It sounded like a cassette tape being played fast forward. Now, this is something I'm in the state of between awake and asleep. And the thing is, I actually felt this. I actually really felt this. And anyway, the sound was kind of like a screechy sounding. I felt it and I heard it. And for the next 3 days, my head felt really full and I felt confident. And right after that, I spoke to a MUFON investigator about the sound in my head, and he said that other people had reported the same thing. And that really surprised me. And later on, I found out what happened, what that was, through another amazing encounter, but I'll get to that in a little bit, I guess.
This was definitely a dream.
It was actually, I think what it is it's people, they're putting things in your mind.
Right. Like a telepathic link, so to speak.
Yeah. Now what's so weird is I had never had any plan of going camping, and I hadn't gone camping in years, and I was pretty much done with camping by this time. I do hotels. But, so a month later, I went camping with friends, and on the last night that we were there, I went to bed, and then it was like it was in my dream when I was kind of looking outside of my tent out into the the camping area, and it looked like it was the same scene as what was in my dream. The same dream, the same scene. It was weird. I had to take a drink there.
Yeah, no problem. So this isn't like, or would you describe it as deja vu, or you remember this was my dream? I dreamt that I had gone camping and that these are the same types of scenes in my dream.
Yeah, it was just the weirdest thing. It's like, I know that they must have somehow maybe put this in my mind, but somehow they knew I was going to go camping. I don't know. It's the strangest thing.
Interesting.
But I will jump on over to what happened with my mom.
Sure.
But one of the things I thought I would say is that, first of all, I don't really speak too often, but what we have here is truly incredible. So we have a very rare contact, and it might be hard to take, and so all I ask is just to sit back and listen and really listen to the words. The words are very important. So we here on Earth, we only have just pieces of our ancient history, and some of the stories have been fed to us as if they were into a child. And what I mean by that is by using metaphors that change the meanings of the truth, like eating the apple. So I'm going to try to fill in some of those details. Hard to believe because of what we've been fed, but remember, we don't know everything, so I'll have some new information to present. And again, all I can say is listen to the words spoken as they've been given to me. So what I want everybody to know is they have finally come forward to reveal who they are. And to say a little bit about how this works, and to give us trivial information so that we will take notice, because they have been trying to get through us to warn us of our environmental crisis, and we only have a short time to fix it before it's permanent. I also wanted to say, despite the title of my book, The Theologians of Orion, this contact or the book is not about religion. We're not religious. Neither are the Orions. They're not religious. So I'll share some of what's really going on in the world. They can tell us so many things. They can tell us about what happened in the past. They can tell us the Bible stories. They can tell us a little bit about what's going on in the future. They can tell us what's going on right now in other countries. They can tell us things that are going on here in the United States that we don't see, that perhaps are being covered up because the government doesn't want to scare us. And then I also have some information about God. Mm-hmm. We have information that no one else has. And like I said, this is a very rare and special contact. I have never seen one like this before. I have never seen anything like this before. And their communication, the communication is not perfect with them because our language is not their language. And And that's why they, anyway, let me get back to that one in just a second. I think what I'd like to do is go into my mother's sighting and what happened with her. So what happened with my mom was she was a teenager, and it was in 1958 in Riverside, California. And she was out with her cousin. They had gone to a drive-in movie, and their aunt, she was staying with her aunt, so the aunt had always told them, you come straight home. And the aunt always stayed up and waited for them to get home. She would always be sitting there waiting for them. And like I said, she said, don't make any stops. But they're teenagers. So what do? They made a stop at a malt shop.
Right.
And so they, they get done with the malt shop and they said, oh man, we better hurry up and get going. We're late. So they raced home, and she said they were in a DeSoto. I think it was an old DeSoto, she says. She said that they had it floored. And she said that all of a sudden, there was a spaceship that kind of zoomed up and over and right in front of them, and it stopped their car. And she said she heard the sound of like a rope swirling, and that's what it sounded like. And she said it had like the middle belt was spinning in a different direction than the rest of the spaceship. And she said she realized, she looked over at her cousin, and she realized that they still had the pedal to the metal, but they weren't going anywhere. And she said the next thing that they knew, they were getting out of their car at their house, which was 5 miles away from where they were. And when they got into the house, they saw the ship out the window, and it sped away really fast. It was almost like they were waiting for them to get in the house, make sure they got in the house okay. But the strange thing is, too, that the aunt was in bed. She would always stay up and wait for them. She would never go to bed. And she said that they were in bed. And she didn't know it. She did not even realize or put together, I don't think she put two and two together that they were actually taken. But when I got back from that UFO conference, that first one I went to, I called her and asked her about it. And so when she told me her story, which it had been years since I heard her story, she was putting it together. And by this time, I'm understanding, what all that meant too. And I said, you had missing time. She says, yeah, well, I must have. And then right then and there, in that same conversation, or actually, we were just about done with the conversation. I'm still stunned, and I think she's stunned at the revelation. Then all of a sudden she says, and I don't know why, but I think about Adam and Eve and God and the Bible, and I don't know why I think about these things and how the earth was populated. And, I had been doing a little bit of reading by this time, so I recognized that as communication. I said, no, you're not thinking that. Someone's talking to you. And so that is when it started.
And this type of thinking that you're used to with your mother, this didn't happen before this, right?
It happened with me. It may have happened with her, but she didn't, say or give me any specific
really
instances.
Yeah,
I don't know if she remembered. She probably did have some of the communication, but didn't realize, a lot of times we have communication. We don't even realize it.
Good point.
Yeah, and especially when you're a young child, you get communication. You have nothing to tell you what that was. You can only just imagine or put together that was your own thought. Because when you're a little kid at 3 years old, you don't know that aliens are talking to you. But that's something that came back around after our awakening, that I realized I had communication when I was 3 years old.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that community. So I'll get to that in just a little bit. With the communication, because I have a few things, a few messages that I received. So I'll just talk a little bit more about them, just to give you guys a little bit of information. Who are they and how do they live?
Right.
What are they like?
And I'm going to let you have the mic here in a second. I just want to remind everyone I am refraining from answering questions in the audience right now so we can let Athena talk about the Orions and her story. It's hard enough with me interrupting every once in a while, so I apologize for that, Athena, but I kind of have to. But I'll go ahead and let you do that. And so we have about 14 minutes before the break.
Okay. And we are going to have my mom on tonight just for a few minutes.
Awesome. Right on.
So, yeah, she said she's going to call in. She says she's a little tired, so she would like to do about 15, 20 minutes. And she's really cool. And so all I have to say about that is these are the people that know everything. The only problem is that the communication isn't perfect. So they said that our words keep changing, the meanings keep changing to our words, and that's why they use old words. So it's like you have to speak to them plainly. If you use big words with them, they're not going to really know what they are. Sometimes they don't understand what we're saying, but for the most part, the communication is pretty good. And they, if you were to ask them, that they don't know how to explain things in our language, especially if you're going to ask a complicated question like some sort of physics question. They know it, but they may not know how to explain it to us in our words. But but we kind of try to work around that, and whatever, we'll try to get questions answered. But so I'll just kind of continue with who they are and a little bit about them and their world and how they are on their own planet.
Mm-hmm.
They, like I said, that God created them to do the work for Him by populating and overseeing planets. Their gifts are more advanced than the other advanced races, and they have authority unlike the others. They control what information gets to us, but they do have rules to live by. That's why they can give me the information they have, information that no one on this planet has. They have divine abilities that are unbelievable. They said that there are 55% of the population are their people. And what I mean by that is they made people with their DNA and put them on the planet. But there are other advanced races as well. So those other advanced races, they also made people and put them on the planet, including reptilians. Reptilians have humans here. They made their own humans and put them on the planet. And so that just goes for all the, Pleiadians. They have their people. But the Orions watch over all of us, everyone on the planet. They oversee us all. They are the ones who have been tasked with putting everything on this planet. Not only people, but plants to nourish our bodies. They put animals, bugs, and insects, and they all do a job. They all have a job to do. They said that they put groups of 12 people that they paired up in various parts of the planet, and that it was an experiment to see what would happen. So when they were taught to create through time and error, they created us. They ended up with us. And like I said, they did create the Neanderthal. And one of the things that they said, they like to throw things out there at me to get me to think. And so one of the things that they said was, now, were there any Chinese or Iranian or African cavemen? And I went, whoa, wow, I never thought about such thing. And obviously there wasn't, but there isn't such thing as these different races of cavemen. But they threw that at me, and it just really, really got me to think. And but back to who they are, they manage souls. They don't just deal with us on the physical. They deal with us, our souls. They direct them to their next incarnation. They can communicate directly with them. They take the souls of the dead, and they, like I said, they direct them to their next incarnation. They mostly keep them within the same family, but sometimes they need to take the good souls from Earth and put them on another planet. They live underground on their planet. There are hundreds of thousands of people on their planet. They don't have as many as us. They like to keep their population small. They are tall. They are stronger mentally and physically than we are. Their heads are rounder than ours. Their skin is light, and they wear long sleeves. They said they once had all different races like we do here, but they are now one race because of interbreeding, and that once in a while they get a throwback. You know what I mean by a throwback? That's their word that they used. A throwback means okay, so they have light skin. Well, maybe a Chinese baby would be born to them, or you know what I mean, or someone, a child with another race. So from them, their language is like the Arabic mixed with the Greek symbols, and their sentence structure is like the Spanish language. They can see the future in the way that they have a wider common sense than we do. They said that if we could see their planet, and if we saw a large rock, it could be a fake rock, and that is the entrance to their home. They grow fruit. They grow their food in like hydroponics. They showed my mother a picture. They flashed a picture in her mind of a half pipe kind of thing that's suspended from the ceiling, and that's how they grow their vegetables, from that planter. And they said that they have they're able to slide something away to let the light in into the caves, so they can let the light in every day. They say that their caves look like straws with weave made of oats and hay and mud. They said for entertainment, their musicians get down into a crater and they play music, and they all gather around the top of the crater so that they can hear the music when it comes up. You can hear it all over. And as you would imagine, their vehicles come off the ground. So I guess when you think about these advanced races, you think, well, they live so, down to earth. Well, yeah, they're a lot smarter than we are. They don't want to pollute their planet. They don't want to create all these buildings. They take care of the planet. They live as simple lives as they can. They said they have a sun and 2 moons, and they said one is small and one's large. They said their small moon is our moon.
So they're not far away.
No. They said that the planets are closer than we think. That's what they said, especially when they were referring to that. When they said that, they said they're closer than you think as far as our pollution getting out there to other planets. That it will escape our atmosphere, and they're trying to stop it. They said that they track each one of us, each one of their creation, by utilizing gray beams, which they call seekers and retrievers. The seekers and retrievers' job is to check in on us. What they do is they pick us up. Now other advanced races, and this is just coming from the Orions and how they handle things. Other advanced races may have other reasons for picking up people, but this is why they do. I'm speaking on behalf of them, not other races who may pick up people for for their eggs and things. So, but they pick up our people to see how we're doing in our environment, and they bring back the samples to the Orions, and they leave implants in the bodies. They said the implant enables the Orions to keep track of us and to upgrade us, so they can upgrade us through the implant, and other people are upgraded telepathically. I get upgraded telepathically. They said another purpose of the upgrade is to better us. And I'll give you an example because it's happened to me. What they do is they make adjustments to us, but they do it for the good. For an example, because I'm an empath, I've been, and I didn't realize this for many, many years, which has made life, it really has made life very hard being an empath, because you feel energies so strongly.
I understand.
So I was very quiet, shy, just wanted to stay away from people. I was the little girl hiding behind my mom's leg and holding on to her. Right. That was me. Yeah. And I honestly didn't even know what being an empath meant until my awakening, and not knowing how to protect myself from it. But so what they said was they brought me out of it. They made some kind of adjustment to bring me out of that. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be able to be talking to you right now. But that is because I'm supposed to come here and do this job. I'm supposed to get out and speak to people, and because the main reason they've come forward at this time is because of our environment. They really didn't come forward to give us trivial information and fill in, the blanks. That really wasn't it. That was my idea was to, for one thing, I'm very interested. I want to know if I have this kind of contact. I want to know everything, And then, on the other hand, I thought, well, this information it could be compelling to others, and if they listen, maybe that's something that will to get them to take notice to this contact and take us seriously about our dire environmental issues.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and stop right here? We're going to go into our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk to you more about the Orions, and we will hopefully have your mom on the phone. And it's just getting started, everyone, so don't go away. This is Spaced Out Radio Saturday night. We're speaking with Athena Zeub and the Orions. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
"365 days a year, we're in the field, investigating UFO sightings, talking to alien abductees, and visiting secret military locations like Area 51. We're UFO Seekers, official partner of Spaced Out Radio. Follow our daily search for the truth at ufoseekers.com or like us on social media. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Want to learn more about aliens, cover-ups, conspiracies, cryptids, and the paranormal? All you have to do is tune in S4 as we take over the Spaced Out Radio night, starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, each and every Saturday night, right after Spaced Out Saturdays. Hi there, this is Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. Join me, Corey Ruiz, and friends as we discuss the hot topics of the night. It's fun, entertaining, and as dark as the night. Find us at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Had a run-in with ghosts, maybe Bigfoot, or seen lights in the sky? Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt from the SOR Sightlines. I'm here to investigate your sighting. Head to spacedoutradio.com and fill out a report on the Sightlines. All your information is 100% confidential, and I will help you figure out what you've been seeing. File your report and let's find out the answers together.
Psychic Sundays, spiritual communication, ET contact, Sasquatch in your backyard. We will have it all on Cosmic Passport with me, Elizabeth Anglin. Each Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, at spacedoutradio.com, I will take you on a journey of enlightenment. The goal is learning from the soul on out. We'd love it if you joined our experience. Cosmic Passport, heard Sundays at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest. From Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird? Right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio Live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Cruz and SOR.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Spaced Out Radio Saturday nights with me, Dave Cruz. Tomorrow night, Elizabeth Anglin has Psychic Sundays on Spaced Out Sundays. Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. You can also listen to me, Dave Cruz, as I host Beyond the Strange Radio, Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to spacedoutradio.com/paranormal and click on the Beyond the Strange button for links and info to the show. We want to welcome everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Union, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are also live on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are live as well on TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, and KTLK, The Fringe FM. Find us on TuneIn and iTunes for download. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. You can head on over there to the website for some great features. From videos from UFO seekers and Contact TV, shop at our store, and pick up t-shirts, posters, and stickers. And don't forget to rock out to our resident guitar cod, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, who is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Once again, I'd like to thank our guests for joining us tonight. Athena Zeub, thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you. So, we are going to have my mom on in just a couple of minutes. So,
awesome.
But I would just kind of talk a little bit about communication. And she's going to call in to you in a couple minutes, and unless you decide to call her first. But we only have a short time because she's she only wants to give a few minutes, which I'm happy to get just anything. Sometimes you never know, she might go on a little bit longer. But so hopefully you've got some and again, the communication is I may want to butt in if I feel like because I kind of know them after a few years now, how they answer. I might kind of butt in a little bit if I feel like they're not understanding the question. So I might have,
Yeah, no worries. No worries. As a matter of fact, I'm asking the audience right now to go ahead and put in your questions in either the Spreaker chat or the Facebook chat or even the hashtag Spaced Out Radio Twitter. And if you can put them in caps, that'd be wonderful so I can read those easier. Also, Deb is helping me with the questions if I miss one. So please get those questions out there. If you want to ask about the Orions, or if you want to ask about Athena or about her mom or about any alien races, whatever you have, go ahead and put that in there. And when Athena's mom comes on, we'll ask her to talk to the Orions. I think that's how it works, right, Athena?
Yes, they are just right there. They're always on. As long as she pauses and takes time to listen in, they're there. And as far as my mom, you can either call her Mom or call her Kathleen, whatever you like. And she, like I said, the communication is always there. It's amazing. And, how can people on the Orion constellation be telepathically speaking to somebody here? It's all amazing. But of course I believe, because, I'm right in the mix of it. Somebody on the outside looking in, I don't blame them if they say this is really hard to believe. I honestly don't blame them at all, because I would probably be thinking the same thing.
Right. Of course. This is you've been around this community for a while now. You understand that it's a very open-minded community, because we want to believe, and we've heard a lot of different stories. For me, I believe that even if people have different stories, they kind of come around to the same point, if you will. And that is that there is life on other planets, that we're not alone in this universe, and there's many, many questions that still need to be answered. And I'm really happy that that you wrote this book about the theologians, because about the Orions, because just to know that there's another race of extraterrestrials who are watching over us and who are trying to help our planet, it really it makes me feel better. And I'd love to ask a couple of questions if I can. Once your mom calls in, that'd be wonderful. So there was a question a while back, because Dennis came in a little bit late, and it was one of the questions I had asked. But I remember when I was asking you about what did Jesus look like, and basically you said that you knew that he had the white robe, but you really couldn't make out his face very well, or if his question was what his ethnicity was. Was there any way you could tell?
I couldn't tell any kind of ethnicity. I just seem to recall he looks somewhat similar to what we think he does. Well, a lot of the pictures going around, and I didn't see a real dark skin, and I didn't see a real light skin. It's kind of maybe a little, somewhat like a tan, kind of, I guess. Maybe a little bit on the lighter side. But, okay. It was amazing. And I also had a regression done one time. This is right in the beginning of it, and I didn't really think that I could ever be put under or anything like that. And I thought, well, I'd give it a try anyway. And so I did do a regression, and in the regression, all these pictures kept popping up. And so the first picture that popped up was of Jesus. And the question that brought this on was something like, where my origins, the beginning. And there was a picture of Jesus that popped in my mind, and with his hand like in a cradled position. And I felt like that meant I was in his hand or something. I didn't really know what that meant.
Athena, I believe we have your mom on the line.
Yeah. Oh, bring her on.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing great. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I don't mind at all. I'm a little tired, but I don't mind. What would you like to know?
First of all, I'd like to say thanks for coming on, Mom, and I would appreciate and would like it very much, because I know that they're listening in, for them to be so gracious enough to answer a few questions for us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
All right. Okay.
So, I guess, is it okay to call you Mom?
Sure.
Awesome. So, the Orions, are they here to help us?
Yes, they are.
And how long have they been doing so?
Thousands of years.
Amazing. Okay. What have they told us so far that we've needed to know to save our planet?
Oh, okay. A lot of things. So much it's really tiring. First of all, they are really not very happy with us, and I can see why. The pollution, how we don't take care of our earth, that we don't care about one another, respect has left us, that there's things in this world, or really on earth, that we should have been doing a long time ago that we haven't done. And things that we've done we shouldn't have done, like polluted our rivers and our oceans. And there's ways to go around that. And they tried to explain to them. And we've tried to tell people what they've told us about dredging lakes and, like a lot of the businesses that are polluting, to get people together to fight against this thing, because after a while it's going to consume us. It's just going to, they said it's like we're acidy. The planet's becoming acidy. I don't know what they mean by that, and it's like we're also consumed with money and prestige, that we don't look at what really is happening in this world. And they say a lot of things. It's mostly about our planet and how we've just trashed it, and how we have eyes we can't see, we have a mouth, we don't use it in the right way, we have ears but we don't hear. That's more or less what they say about the climate, and never preparing for anything, and we're just polluting. We've polluted our world, and we don't seem to care. We just turn a blind eye.
Now,
so that
we have a question from the chat room that they're asking, when did you first have contact with the Orions?
1958.
Okay. And
I was 15.
You were 15. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And What are?
Do you want it?
We have. I'm just trying to get through some of the questions because they're starting to come in now. Milo has a question about what types of messages are from God.
You know, I can't answer that. The only thing I can say is that they're very godly. They themselves are very godly.
Mm-hmm.
And they did tell me that you have to have hope. And if you didn't have a God, you would have nothing, absolutely nothing. But they said that they, like it says, God helps those who help themselves. Well, that's about what they more or less go by. And they tried to help Earth. We were like an experiment. We still are. And they said that God created man, but he only created two. And then, of course, you know, Abel and Cain and that. But that they, as an experiment, went from planet to planet. And each planet that they went to, one had like all blacks, one had like Chinese, one had like Mexican, and they brought 12 of all different ages and put them in Africa, Arizona, Mexico, you know, all over Europe. And that's how we've got all the different nationalities. That's how they help the Earth. And we were an experiment to see what would happen also. And they're not happy with us. Not at all.
When you say they're not happy with us, is it because we did something that we weren't supposed to, or is it because of the way we turned out? What happened?
Exactly. The way we turned out, they had no expectations for us. Like they said, we don't use our eyes, we don't use our mouth right, and we don't hear what we should be hearing. It's like they said, we turn a blind eye. It's like now it's gotten to the point there is no respect. Mm-hmm. Years ago they said that people, their word was their honor. We have no honor anymore, per se, whatever that means. And if we don't start tomorrow, that we're damning ourselves. We are totally damning ourselves physically, mentally, and, of course, our ecological system. And they say something about kindness. Kindness is gone. Nobody trusts anybody, even families. But people have got to get together more, and people better learn to love more, or we're damned.
When a lot of this stuff happened with Roswell, and a lot of these sightings of UFOs started happening, did the Orions know that the government was going to hide this type of information from us?
Yes, they did. They do.
What can
they understand why?
What can the Orions tell us about the government?
Our government thinks that anything they say, and if they were to admit all the things that they know about the aliens and the happenings here on Earth, that we couldn't handle it. We, as people of the Earth, could not handle it. But you know, like they said, there's bad and good everywhere, even where they're at and all the other planets. It's just, if you didn't have bad, you wouldn't know how good is. That's what they said. And like here on Earth, they said you call it the devil, which it is in they say in a in kind of like a form, that is always considered the devil.
What about religion as a whole? What do the Orions tell us about that?
Well, they don't like it. They don't like the way religions really are so totally different. And they don't like it because they fight amongst, the different religions fight against each other. And they don't like that. They don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they think that's the worst. And it's going to end up causing like a religious war.
I know there's not much time we have with you, ma'am, and I wanted to ask one last question.
Sure.
What do the Orions want us to know right now? Because of everything that's going on in the world, we see lots of violence. We see lots of experimenting on our people, like with chemtrails. We see a lot of vaccines that are killing and causing our children to have diseases like autism and that sort of thing. What do the Orions tell us about what's going to happen in our future?
They said that the reason things are happening like they are is because of money and prestige, like they said before.
Right.
They said that people use money, and they don't care about what you eat long as they get their money. Whatever it contains, they don't care as long as they get their money. If they spray your food, they don't care, because money more or less is kind of like a root of all evil with people. Not most people, they say, but it ends up hurting everybody. Because, like they say, the respect and the non-caring is what is killing us. And people better hold together, and they don't hold together as much as they should. People have gotten lackadaisical and very lazy, they said, and they don't want to take the time to open their mouth, to open their ears, to open their eyes. And it's like people are busy, they say, but people should always take time to save your world, to save your people, to save your loved ones. More caring.
I know I said that was the final question. That was for me, but I have a couple other questions from the audience, and I'm seeing that people want to know about what's going to happen with our moon. I think that's what they're asking. With our moon.
With what? With our moon? I tell you what, there's underground. They have underground stations there. And that's where all the planets get together, and they all come in there. And there's underground passages in there, and that's where they all meet. I don't know what that means, but that's what they said.
They all meet on the moon. Okay. That's interesting.
That's where they all meet. Uh-huh. And there was something else they were trying to tell me. And it was so important. Oh, boy. God, as I was talking,
well, as you think about that question, there's another question that came in, and Catalina would like to. Catalina wants to know, where did the creatures of Monsanto come from? Can they tell us about
creatures?
Can they tell us about Monsanto and the creatures that come from Monsanto?
They said that a lot of things that people call creatures They have robots that are almost human. I mean, almost human, they said. And they said that they do have a chip in the back of their head, and they can program that. But they're almost human. And that's all they said to me.
She's talking about the Greys.
Right.
But does she mean the creatures of Monsanto? Does she mean the corporation Monsanto?
She does mean Monsanto, as in Monsanto, the company that some people believe, well, a lot of people believe, have tainted our food with genetics. That
pesticides.
Correct, pesticides, that kind of stuff.
They are saying that we have so many things in our home that have polluted our homes, but that's causing a lot of children to get autism. And a lot of people, they say, that are having problems with their brain, it's from all the food that people have tampered with, and we're eating that. And they said a lot of this stuff started when they had DDT.
DDT, yep. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I had another question, but I wanted to ask about what can the Orions tell us about nuclear war? Will there be a third, or will there be a nuclear war?
No. They said no. They said reasons being, especially the United States, are so prepared, it's just not going to happen. Whatever that means.
I like that answer. I really do. I like the Orions. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But
you're very welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Athena, was there anything you wanted to add or ask?
Mom, were you needing to go?
They told me to tell you about that weather too. We're going to have horrible weather, horrible. Like Wyoming's going to have blizzards they haven't seen in decades. Canada, Alaska, people are going to be, even Oregon, and other places like that have snow. They're going to be literally blocked. They said blocked in, and a lot of people are going to die that can't get out, and people didn't take heed, and they didn't stock up on food and things and wood for fires. We're going to have horrible weather, horrible winter.
Interesting.
I think they were saying that
they're going to be snowed in, terrible. Canada.
I think they were also saying that Russia was going to
Russia's going to have horrible weather. Yes.
They said it was going to bring them to their knees.
And they already predicted about
Mexico.
That was Mexico's gonna. They're going to have. They said something about the dirt's going to move and it's going to engulf people. Whatever that means, I don't know.
They also said that there was going to be a lot of water. So my feeling was, even though they never said earthquake, my feeling was there was going to be a large earthquake in the ocean, and it's going to. Remember, they said there's going to cause big, huge waves,
and it's going to push all this dirt, and it's going to bury people. Yes.
Is the water going to bury people?
They said people need to get, when they start getting a lot of rain, they said to get away from the ocean. High ground, get away from the ocean. So.
Oh, it seems like we lost.
They get, it's just people don't believe, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. I just don't. If somebody told me a lot of the things that they're telling me, I wouldn't believe it either. It would be hard to believe. You know what I mean? But if somebody's telling you this, at least take heed. You know what I mean? At least take heed to what they say, so you will be prepared.
What about disclosure? Do you know, or have they talked to you about a disclosure with the ETs anytime soon, revealing themselves to our planet?
You know, they don't tell me that. They don't tell me that. But, you know, they said that their favorite month to come here is November. They like it when it's not too cold and it's not too hot. Whatever that means.
That's because that's the Greys that come here. They send the Greys here. They don't themselves come here. The Greys, they said prior, they said the Greys have like thin skin, I think, and they can't handle when it's too hot or
So
do the job for them.
The Greys can't handle hot weather.
Yeah, they can't handle real hot weather or cold weather. And that's why they're making hybrids.
That's interesting.
But they do, when they come down, they really don't mean, they said, to hurt anybody. But they do take samples, and they do make tube babies. They take from the woman and from the man, and they do make tube babies. That's what they said.
Okay, that's interesting.
They take ovaries and they take, and the sperm from the man, and they, and that's how they find out how well we're doing, and they know we're doing poorly, especially, you know, our bodies.
Are the abductions going to continue to happen?
Yes.
And it's because they need to do this for experimenting on us?
Yes, we are an experiment here on Earth. You know, all these people were brought here as an experiment because, see, every planet was a different nationality, and so they put them all together on Earth.
Oh.
It's like a melting pot, you know, and they have to check on us. I guess for their own, I don't know. They say they have to check to see how we're doing.
Are they like the Greys? I've heard the Greys are trying to merge with our species as well because their species is running out. Is the Orion species running out?
No. And that's not true. That's not true.
About the Greys.
The Greys were made themselves.
They made themselves.
No, what
they
I mean
were
is
made themselves. They were made themselves. I mean, they're almost human. They're not all human. I don't know why people think they're human. They're not almost because they carry a chip behind their head, and they're programmed. They say they're a high. I don't care to say the word. But they're a machine, a highly sensitive machine, and programmed.
Is there any way to send a message to the Orions from us?
They're on the line.
I try every day just about to send them messages. I do. I try. I ask for things, and you know, I tell them things, and I'm hoping that they can help us. They try. They say they do try, but we are the most. I can't think of that word they always use, but they use it all the time. It's like we're like fickle, you know. It's like, and the same with the language. We're hard to understand because we change our language all the time. It's like we have so much slang, and then that changes. And so it's hard to understand what we really mean. I don't understand. Do you understand that?
Yeah. I kind of understand that.
They said we are.
Mm-hmm.
They said we are complex. That might be the word you're looking for.
Very complex. Sure. Yes, we're complex. That's what they said.
Okay. Getting another question. This comes from Craig. Why do these machines dislike cold? Why not turn off a switch for feeling it? I believe he's referring to the Greys.
Well, it's not that they're feeling it. They said they have very tender elements over their skeletoid, whatever that is, and it will burn. It is not that they feel it, but they have, they don't know how to explain to you. It's like they can't feel it, but it's like they burn, and that's not good for their inners, whatever that means.
Right.
Oh, I see. Now, they also make the mantis beings, and they program the mantis beings as well. Can they tell us what job the mantis beings do?
I can hardly hear you.
Athena, you're cutting out. You're cutting out a bit.
Okay. They also created some mantis beings, and the mantis beings do a job for them. Programmed. The mantis beings.
I can hardly hear her.
So what?
It's like I get every other word.
The ET, the extraterrestrials that are referred to as the mantis beings, they're a mantis type of extraterrestrial.
Right.
What do I believe what Athena was asking is, what are they programmed for? What do the Orions? Is that what you're trying to say, Athena? Is what they?
What are they used for?
Yeah, what are they used for?
What's their job?
What is the job of the mantis beings?
They collect data.
Is that for us or for everything?
That's for everything. But more of pollution and things like that than anything.
They also had mentioned before that they carry things.
What kind of things do they carry?
Did we lose?
The only thing that the only thing that they carry is things that they need to collect the materials that they're finding. That's all they carry. Containers.
Okay. You can, Mom, whenever you're ready and you're ready to go, you feel free to let us know.
Well, I just want to make sure everybody, got the word, listens to the word, or the words, really, and lives a better life and tries harder. Because it's stress on me, too, because I see what they see. And I can imagine what they're really going through, especially when they're disgusted with us. They're just disgusted with us. We had so much given to us, and we just threw it all away. So... Anyway,
what do they?
I'll leave you with that, huh?
One more question, Mom, before you leave.
Sure.
What can? How do I say this? What would if the Orions want us to know one last thing or one final thing? What would it be as far as to be able to fix our planet? How can we fix our planet besides, the pollution, besides, being good to each other, being respectful? Because it looks like time is running out for our planet. Are we going to make it? Let me put it that way.
It's going to be a struggle. They said it's going to be a struggle. People, what is so sad is they said that a lot of people are going to end up having so much problems as far as breathing goes. There's going to be more of that than anything. Lungs are going to deteriorate. But people are going to have to, they said, stop and think before you do. Think about what you're doing. Save things. Don't keep going out buying. That's one thing they said. You have things in the home that you can use over and over. If you will just use things more. They're saying something about people go out and they have to buy things new all the time. And they said that's like a pollution because you're just adding to the junk pile, whatever that means. I don't know what they mean by that.
Well,
they said that we're just too...
Mm-hmm.
We keep adding. They're putting things in my mind like they're telling you to fix what you got and be happy with what you got and live like over 100 years ago, whatever that means. Whatever that means. To me, I think that means probably love one another more and don't be so trashy. And I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yes, I think so.
Well,
but
Mom,
people need to save.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Oh no, please. People need to save.
Go ahead, Mom. We're listening. Go ahead.
Yes, they need to save the Earth, and like they say, is by thinking about what you're throwing away, where you're throwing it at. Don't sit by and sit and complain. Get up, clean it up, because talking about it and being mad about it to somebody else, thinking somebody else needs to clean it up, doesn't help, doesn't get anywhere. Just feel good to yourself that you've done it and you've helped. And if more people feel that way, you'll have a better chance at life. That's what they said. I tried to say it the way they said it, but it's kind of hard,
Yes, I really appreciate that. Before I let you go one more time, I'm sorry, Athena. These are the last two questions.
Okay.
These are the last two questions.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to take from the chat. Thank you, everyone from the chat asking Mom's questions. And the last two questions are the Orions the Anunnaki?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Didn't the Anunnaki come from their planet?
But they're not. They're just saying they're not. I don't know why they didn't tell me why, but they said they are not. So maybe I don't know. I really don't know. They said they're not.
I thought at one point they said that the Anunnaki came from their planet. Maybe they're not the Anunnaki, but maybe the people who went to
exactly. But they came from.
But the Anunnaki.
I wish they could
Orion,
talk.
Right?
I wish they could. Yes, I wish they could say to you, and like they do to me. I wish they would do it to somebody that could understand it better and speak better than I do.
You're doing You're doing a fine job, Mom.
You're doing good.
It's just hard. We
understand.
And sometimes when they say things, I don't quite understand because some things are very short and sweet and to the point, and you have to decipher yourself. You you have to take it apart and figure it out for yourself. It's like they give me puzzles. Well, a lot of times I can't solve those puzzles too well. You know what I'm saying? But I know that they're trying to save us. They're trying to help us. But they said too many deaf ears, too many blind people. And people don't stick up, they said, for themselves or anybody else anymore.
That's true.
Could, and
do they suggest?
It's very sad because they love all of us. They love us all. But we've lost ourselves, they said. We've lost ourselves. Well, I realize that, I see it, and they said that right there is what's it's going to be one of the things that starts the ball rolling as far as damnation.
Right. Final question from the Spreaker chat.
Slow process. I said a slow process.
Slow process. Okay, final question from the Spreaker chat, and we'll let you go, Mom. Lois wants to know, guest's daughter said the Greys make the mantids, right? The Greys made the mantids. Is that correct or not correct?
No, it's not correct.
Okay.
No.
They did not
the
make
Orions
the
made them.
The Orions made
The Orions did.
Made the mantids.
The
right?
Orions did, yes.
Okay.
But, like the Orions said, they're not the only people on these planets. They just have a little bit more knowledge than a lot of the planets that are closer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that brought the people here. So, whatever that means.
Well,
so they're more or less closer to us.
Craig just sent a comment saying, "Thank you, Athena's mom. You're awesome."
Oh, wow. Oh, well, God, hey, bless everybody. Seriously, bless everybody. And myself and them, I know they're trying, and I know they love us. And they say they always have a tear in their eye, when they think about us. So they wish us nothing but the best. They hope we use our eyes for what they're for, the mouth for what it's for, and our ears. And they left us with that.
Well, thank you again. That's awesome. Thank you again, Mom. We really appreciate it, and hopefully.
You're anytime.
We'll talk to you soon.
Really, anytime.
Excellent.
Thank you,
okay,
Mom.
Okay, so you guys have a great.
It.
Oh, you're welcome. Very welcome. And I wished I could tell you more and what happened to me and everything, and maybe the next time I will.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. It's up to you. You can stay on as long as you want to. It's up to you. We'll be on until midnight.
Well, I meant the next time I go to get it, if I can get back on another call. You know what I mean? Call whenever he has the show on again.
We'll do that.
Okay.
We'll schedule that sometime, Mom. Thank you very much. You have a good night. Okay?
You too. You all do. Take care.
You too. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank you, Mom. Good night.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night.
She's awesome. She really is.
Wasn't that pretty good? That was pretty good.
That was really good. That's really good. But she's right. And the Orions are right. I mean, I have heard from other people that we are here as an experiment. It's something that, it's not too far fetched. And just hearing it from another species like the Orions, it makes, it makes sense that, this does seem like, whether it's a spiritual path or whatever you want to call it, we're all here for a reason. And I strongly believe that as well. And I want to thank everyone in the chat rooms, Facebook, Spreaker, and you guys were really awesome asking Mom those questions and those comments.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we got to keep her on for initially said.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, she actually did. She was like, "I'm ready to go." So
yeah,
that's really cool. Well, we got about 6 more minutes.
Happens. What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say we got about 6 more minutes before break.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was awesome. And you guys just heard from our creators.
Right.
I mean, you just spoke to the people that put us on the planet. You just spoke to the people that are the divine. They are the closest group to the God. They know almost they say they don't know everything, but they know a lot. They know all of our history. They can tell you things. They can tell you, there are some things that are hard for them to explain, but I asked them about, about the parting of the Red Sea, and they said it didn't happen exactly the way that that it's how it's been written, but they couldn't explain to us. They couldn't put it in our words to explain it. So these are the people, but I'm sure that they can explain other things like that. But those are the people that know. They know all of this. They know everything. They know present day things. They know they can give us predictions. And one thing you need to remember is predictions are just that. They're just based on what the trend is showing them, and it may or may not happen. However, they've given us quite a few predictions that have come true, and that is one of the reasons why I wrote the book. And they told me to hurry up with the book. And honestly, the book is pretty well thrown together, and I could have done a better job with it, especially toward the back part of it. But they predicted some things in there that actually did come true. However, they just, one of the things that they predicted that was in my book was ISIS. ISIS had not come about when the book came out.
Right.
However, they didn't call them ISIS because, they probably didn't know to call them that. But what they said was, they said there was going to be a storm coming over there, and a lot of people were going to be killed. But when they said storm, I immediately understood that it wasn't some natural storm. It was a storm of people, bad people, that were going to do some killing. And so that came true. There was something else that in there I can't remember. There was another prediction that came true. I, at this moment, don't remember what it was.
One of the things I wanted to ask your mom to ask the Orions, or to talk, through her to them, I wanted to ask who was behind this weather manipulation, because I strongly believe this, and she spoke about how horrible the weather is going to be, that this weather that we're having is manipulated.
Well, they do. They have told me that we do, and in their words, we salt the clouds. We do that. And that's the only information I got on that. As far as, that's all I know about weather manipulation. As far as some future weather that's coming, they did say that it's going to be, we're in for a terrible winter, like they were saying.
Right.
They said what they said was the ice is coming back to the Antarctic. It's going to come back, and it's going to happen very soon.
So a lot of the melting that's been happening is actually just temporary.
Yeah, they said it.
Whoa, Athena, are you there? I just lost about 5 seconds of you talking.
Yeah, I'm here. I think we just have a weird connection. So, but yes, they did say that the ice is going to come back, and very soon. They said it's going to happen soon. And there's still going to be, and it has been the last couple of years, been some crazy weather. It's going to continue, they said. they predicted, these earthquakes in Mexico and the surrounding Mexico City areas. That those keep happening, but they said that a big one's coming, and I hate for it to sound so bad. I know when my mom says it, she just says it as it's given to her. She doesn't hold back or code it. She just says, yeah, a lot of people, they're going to be caught up on it, and it's not going to be good. But she's just saying it just the way it's being told to her. And
oh yeah,
no,
I
would rather just tell the truth. But although we don't want to, freak people out, but
right. No, I understand.
That
we have to go to another break, so I'm sorry to cut in like that. But we're going to go to our last commercial. This is Spaced Out Radio, Saturday night. I am your host, Dave Cruz. We are speaking with Athena and messages from the Orion. So don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Not ready for bed on Saturday night? Right after Spaced Out Saturdays, hop on over to S4 with Corey Ruiz and me, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. With S4, there are no limits to what we try and uncover. From government conspiracies to helping clean up the paranormal, no topic is safe on S4. We get to the heart of the matter, of the subjects you want to learn more about. So tune in on S4 starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, only on spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Sightlines is a place for you to find answers to your strange experiences. Hi there, this is Mike Schmidt. If you have had an encounter with ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, ETs, or anything else that doesn't make sense, head to spacedoutradio.com and file a Sightlines report. All information you give is 100% confidential, and I will personally help you find the answers you need. SOR Sightlines, your answers are a click away.
Hi there. I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4Cop. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories, from alien encounters to the latest conspiracies. You won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
It's Cosmic Sundays with me, Elizabeth Anglin, in Cosmic Passport. Let me take you down a 3-hour spiritual journey where we will get into everything from ET contact to Psychic Sundays. It's a journey of listening and learning together with some of the best professionals in their fields. You can tune in to Cosmic Passport at spacedoutradio.com every Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Cruz and SOR.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Spaced Out Saturday Nights with me, Dave Cruz. Tomorrow night, Elizabeth Anglin has Psychic Sundays on Spaced Out Sundays, Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. You can also listen to me as I host Beyond the Strange Radio Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to spacedoutradio.com/paranormal and click on the Beyond the Strange button for links and info to the show. We want to welcome everyone again listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of the Walking Dead. We're also live on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. And we are live as well on TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, and KTLK, the Fringe FM as well. Find us on TuneIn and iTunes for a download. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Head on over to the website for some great features from videos, UFO Seekers, and Contact TV. Shop at our store and pick up some t-shirts, posters, and stickers. And don't forget to rock out to our resident guitar god, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, who is the official music of the mighty SOR. Once again, I want to thank our guest tonight, Athena Zeub, and the Orions, for coming on the show tonight. And welcome and Thank you again to you, and thank you to your mom, Athena.
Yeah, she was great. I'm really pleased that she came on. That was so nice, because it just helps kind of, to me, I think it really helps cement this. It really helps, helps my message here, trying to tell you about them, and it just helps so much if she comes on and you actually hear their words coming out of her mouth. Their own word, though for the most part, their words. She has to change them around a little bit sometimes. But, and that's also what I wanted to discuss was about that communication. There's all these different forms of communication that all these advanced races out there do with us. And it can be, channelers who go into a meditation and the entity comes through and speaks through them, or they, or they meditate and they receive the message and repeat it. There's all these different forms of communication, but they speak. The way they speak to my mother is obviously telepathically. So she hears a voice. They also communicate to her by flashing pictures in her mind. You see, so it's like she was saying, their language is short and to the point. That's just how they like. Our language goes on forever. We use too many words to get a point across. Theirs is short. And so in order to communicate with us, that's what they do. They flash pictures in the mind so that they can make you understand. They also communicate by giving you a sense of what they're thinking, kind of like an urge. Like you get this really deep feeling that this is what they're saying. This is what they mean. It's like an intention, I guess. I guess that's the best way to put it.
That does sound like it. It's an intention, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like you feel it's like a very strongly. They also take control of her arm and they have her draw pictures. I have maybe one or two of those pictures on my website. It's the theologiansoforion.com, and the whole story is there with quotes from them and all kinds of things there if anybody wants to check it out. But they draw all kinds of pictures of, they want us to know what people, they don't want us to be afraid. Oh, it's not all crazy, scary-looking aliens. It's people that look like us. Some of them do look a little different. They have cat eyes, or if you want to call them reptilian eyes, whatever they are. And some beings look a little bit different, and they call them humanoids. But doesn't mean, just because they're different looking doesn't mean they're bad people. But they just want us to get over that fear. So I have a whole stack of drawings that they have given us. But she, these people that speak to her, they showed her a picture in her mind of a triangle, and within the triangle are thousands and thousands of people. So when we ask them questions, all these people either talk amongst themselves, or the person with the best answer speaks. But then these answers are funneled through one person at the top. And just by chance, one time I was asking my mom a question. She says, well, he says this. I'm like, and this is the first time she ever identified a particular person, because I thought it was thousands of people. And I said, well, who's he? And she said, his name is Zentus. So the person at the top, his name is Zentus, which is amazing. And so what she hears is a rumbling from all the people, and then the voice comes from the guy at the top. I have also had telepathic communication, but it's not anything like my mother's. I had the dream interactions, the visions, and the thoughts that came into my mind when I, in mind, but I knew they weren't. Been going on since I was little. But so the first message I recall receiving when I was about 3, and I was standing right next to my mom, who was pregnant at the time, and what came into my mind prompted me to look at my mother. And so what came into my mind was, if I was born from my mother, then how was the first person made? And, why would a 3-year-old be thinking such a thing? So that is one of the things that I remembered, once I had my awakening going, I had the awakening that's like, oh, that thing, that thought, and then this thing, and that's what all this is, and what all this was, and how I was protected one time. Something stepped in between me and someone who was trying to harm me. It was amazing. I'm like, oh, this and that, and all these things going through my head. When that awakening happened, then the most recent thought that came into my mind was in 2015, and it actually happened on my birthday. And I was out celebrating my birthday with some friends, and they kind of had stepped outside for a moment where we were, and I was hanging out, and all of a sudden I felt an immense pressure on top of my head, like someone was pushing words into my head. It's hard to explain, but this was the message I received. The difference, looking from my world to this world, looking at it at another angle, knowledge I have that they don't see. I figured out the difference and how to convey it to humans. We are different, and we have to figure out how to say things to you humans. It made sense, and when these are put in your mind, wherever they're coming from, I don't know if they're coming from my higher self or if it's coming from someone else, because it comes in the first person. But these words that I heard, they seem to be coming about me, at least. This is about me because the Orions told me that I have the power of the words to get through to people. They said I know how to choose the right words. But it's just amazing. I've had other telepathic communication, and it all, it's all kind of different, and it sounds different. And one time, and this was before my awakening, I was very stressed out about something going on in my life, and I was taking a nap, but stressed out at the same time, and I was kind of like in between sleep and awake, when a voice came to me that said, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." And I immediately sat up and I said, what the hell was that? And I knew it wasn't a dream. At the time, all I could associate it with was, maybe it was my grandfather, because he was such a sweet and kind man. Maybe it was him, but it definitely was something. I couldn't ignore it. And what was so strange is that here I am still going through all my stress, and the same exact thing happened like a week later or 2 weeks later or whatever it was. The same thing happened, struggling to sleep in my bed, and the voice came, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." And I did have another telepathic communication during my awakening, and some words came to me, and the words, it was about a family member. I don't feel like I really need to go into what it was, but it sounded different than the words I had before, and that they were so soft, and it was like the communication was struggling to get to me, and it was, like they were yelling. It was just so strange. It just sounded. That. What else did I had? I had, like I said, I had the visions and I think that's all the communication that I recognize that I've had. It's all been, I'm telling you, when you are on that end of it and you hear it from yourself, it's just amazing. It's like you can't believe that this is weird. The other thing that happened as well was this also happened during my awakening. The Orions. There have been times when I've been, and it happened even before my awakening. I think that I remember in 2010, laying in my bed and trying to wake up, and I was strapped to my bed and I couldn't get up, and I felt like when you're trying to scream in your sleep and you're trying to get up and something's holding
Paralysis.
you down. Yeah. They said that it's negative entities, and that kept happening to me in my awakening as well. And what the Orions told me is that it's negative entities, and they don't want me to know what I will know, and they don't want me to know what I'm going to know, because they fear for themselves. But so something else happened as well. That kept happening. And there were times when it would cover my mouth even. And there was another particular time where whatever this was showing me, again, in between sleep and awake, I was laying on a wooden floor, and this entity or whatever it was, and I saw a door. So I'm like seeing out the door, I'm thinking I need to get out that door and run away from this thing. It was dragging me across the floor toward, it moved me up toward the door, then up, back away from it. It kept moving me back and forth and back and forth. The other thing that happened was I was sleeping in the middle of the day because I had gotten really sick. I got a really bad head cold. So I went to sleep, and all of a sudden, I was just starting to wake up and get up. All of a sudden, this face, it's like I saw it in my mind's eye. This face came right at me, and it went, like that. And it looked like a reptilian face. It was right in my mind's eyes, and it startled me. It was weird. There was, and I've gotten other communication with spirit guides. One was, intentionally I did a meditation, and I was able to see a spirit guide. And I thought, oh, how cool, and I felt like I had some communication from the spirit guide, and I noticed he was wearing older clothes, like from the, 1400s or something. And then at a separate time, I guess this was all in one scene. So I was thinking in my mind how odd of what he's wearing, and then all of a sudden he changed his clothes and wore a business suit with his hair slicked back. And the communication was, well, how is this? Is this better? And I thought, this is strange. And then there was a time where I also had my master guide come at me without me asking for it. It was right in the middle of the day, and I was walking. And I had just finished an outline of what I wanted to say in a speech I was writing for this very same subject. And so I was walking home, and above, I kind of, for some reason, looked to the left, and all of a sudden I had this great big thumb come right at me in front of my face. in my mind's eye. And I'm trying to kind of look around the thumb to see, what is this too? It was just the strangest thing. So I was able to finally look around and see the thumb and see that it was my master guide. He was giving me a thumbs up, and
how bizarre.
What I said to him was, it was bizarre. And what I said to him was, oh, it's you. In my mind, I said, oh, it's you. And I just, oh my God, that's just so weird. That's just so weird. So as far as the communication, there's just all these different forms, and it's just amazing, all these different forms that people get. There's probably some forms I'm not thinking of, but that's
right.
it. And
well, when you get this communication, just not only the thoughts or maybe soft voices. What about feelings? Do you get any type of sadness or anger or happiness when this communication comes to you?
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't think there is any emotion in it. I don't think there is. But, I think some of the stuff that comes is just, I don't think there is any kind of emotion. There's not a feeling that they'd like to give me. And in return, the reaction, the feeling reaction is more like you're kind of in shock. First of all, you're kind of in shock to even have any kind of, feeling that you're getting this communication and this is just so strange. You're just kind of like listening and going, whoa, what is this? And let's take this in and explore this and, wait and find out what is this. But it's quite amazing. I'm telling you. I thought this kind of thing, and before I knew that my mom was picked up by a spaceship, I thought this stuff happened to other people, and the thing is, and this might be hard to sometimes a hard thing for me to say too, that because I think it might be hard to believe, but you need to realize we reincarnate here. We reincarnate, and this, my mother and I, this was planned. This is just not by chance. We just weren't chosen. We chose to come here and do this. We came, I have a hard time saying this as well, but we're part of their group.
Right.
And that's why we can have this communication with them. That's why, I guess,
well, actually, Athena, that was one of my questions, was why is this planet so important to them?
Well, they said that,
I know it's an experiment. We all know it's an experiment, but it just seems like I guess we're like their children. I don't know. It almost seems like they have some kind of parental type obligation to us. Is that the case?
That is the case, and they want us to see us do well. They want us to be better. They said we're complex people. They created an intelligent being that they don't understand. And it saddens them to see smart people do dumb things to this planet. And not only do they not want to see us harmed and hurt by this, but what happens on this planet affects other planets and the universe. our pollution one day will reach other planets. They said it will escape the atmosphere and they'll reach other planets. They said that if this planet dies, it will affect other planets. If this planet exploded, it's going to affect the universe. They said it's already happened. I don't know if you recall a year or two, it was reported that there was some sort of explosion out there. They said it was a planet. And they said that the planet had become so polluted that they were all walking around in masks. Now, let me remind you about China and India right now. What are they doing? Walking around in masks. Okay, we're getting to that point. We're already dying of our pollution. It's happening now. And we need to turn it around. It can be done. They said it can be done. But they said we only have a short time, and they said we only had 60 years, and that was like a year or two ago. They said that. We only have 60 years to turn it around before it's permanent.
That's scary.
It's permanent where we can't fix it.
That's really scary.
So,
but it's okay, because I think sometimes we need that to get the message across.
Yeah, we need a rude awakening, but money and greed and the need to, why doesn't any of the presidents address our pollution? Because their number one priority is the economy. And then you've got all the big corporations. And we all know that story and how that all ends up. But I still hold out hope that we're going to do it. It's going to happen. But all this nuclear testing and accidents is really hurting things. Fukushima really hurt us. It was in our waters 3 months after the accident, even though, other reports will say it was much later. I'm hearing it was 3 months. It's in our fish. It's in our vegetables. They said it's in our milk. And then with the underground testing in that North Korea is doing, they said they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. Their Earth is going to cave in. I thought I saw a news article just a few days ago that said that's already happening. The Earth is going to start caving in, and they said that their underground testing actually breached some sort of main underground culvert, which I don't really know what that means or what type of culvert. I don't really know what that is, but that's just what they said. That's their words. It's going to get into their water, and they're going to be in trouble.
Do the Orions ever talk about some of the other planets that had this problem, or are we the only idiots that have been messing up our planet?
Oh yeah, getting back to the planet that exploded. Yes, that's what happened with them.
That makes sense.
They said that those people had to wear masks. They did what we did, and but what happens when a disaster is going on with a planet? The Orions do save some people. They did it on Mars. They saved some people on Mars, and they saved people from this planet. They can't take everybody, so they took a select few, I guess. And those people, they said those people now know of us and people on other planets, and they want to warn us. That's what they said. And But the Mars thing, when they saved people from Mars, that was because of the asteroids. But, we just need to do something about it. And even though the Orions didn't go into too much about how what you can do about it when I had my mom on, prior conversation with them, they were saying that we really need to plant a lot of plants, a lot of succulents, a lot of trees, a lot of shrubs, anything that can absorb bad things in the air. And they also said, write your government. It doesn't even have to be your government. Write other countries. But they all need to do something too. They all need to pitch in, and that is what I've been doing. I've written so many letters in the last 2-3 years. Every once in a while, I'll fire off a bunch of them, and I actually fire off some letters to the super polluters. So I'm trying to do my part. But I do have some new information to share. You're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just letting you go
Okay.
ahead. I'm giving you the floor because it's an important message for us to save the planet. People don't really understand, or they say, "How do we do it?" when it seems like there's no way for one person to change the world. Well, yeah, one person can change the world, and that's how it starts, with one person.
Exactly. You can do it, and putting your words on paper and sending it off to someone says, especially a government official says, I better look into this. To send it to the president, send it to everyone, your local representatives, send it to them, because they got to act on it. They got to listen to the people. They got to do something. They'll probably forward it to somebody else, but it has to go somewhere. And I believe that they are reading the letters. I've gotten feedback that they have read some of my letters.
That's great.
Yeah. Send big, long, four-page letters. But I wanted to bring up some new information about God.
Oh, yes, please.
And it's like I said, we don't have all the answers here on Earth. And so when I bring up something new, it might be hard to take, but you know what? This is just what I've learned. And I'm just going to tell you what it is. So this has to do with God, and I've always wanted to know, who is God? I mean, who is he? Where is he? Where does he live? I mean, he's the big mystery. So the one that we refer to as God, they call the Infinite One. They told me that he has a physical body, and he does live on a planet in this universe, and he lives with a lot of children. I told him, I said, I was surprised. I didn't expect that he was going to be or have a physical body. And they said, you can't enjoy life without a body. And I said, wow, that's pretty cool. So, and then I was curious about all the children that he lives with, and they said, only the innocent go to heaven. A lot of children are in heaven. That we don't go to heaven because of the sins of the first people. We keep reincarnating here to learn lessons. And so when I learned that only the children that live with God are in physical form, it perplexed me, because once your body dies, it can't be revived. So I thought to myself, how does that work? How did that happen? Because they had told me before, you can't revive a body when it's gone. So they said, this is how it works. This is how when a child dies, it comes back to God in a physical body, physical form. They said when a child dies, the spirit goes back into the same mother when she becomes pregnant again. The embryo is taken and it is developed, and that child goes to live with God. And that child won't remember whatever bad thing happened to them in that life. Is that pretty wild or what?
It's really wild. I mean, that's really, to me, that's cool because so much horrible things have happened on this planet to children, to people, just to people in general. And, it's nice that in a way they get their memory wiped when they go to a better place like heaven. It just sounds great, and hopefully that that is the case.
And I have another doozy about God. It's about the Holy Trinity. I've learned what it really is.
Okay.
Let me explain it this way. With the Holy Trinity. So I'm going to explain it this way. When God made up, he made down. When he made left, he made right. He made cold, he made hot. He made black, he made white. You get it. So when he created a son, he also created a daughter. A yin to Jesus' yang. The omega to his alpha. The third person in the Trinity is this daughter. Her name is Indiosi, which means in God. She is the spokesperson for God to the advanced races. And the three of them share the Holy Spirit. The one we call God is referred to as the Infinite One. Jesus is called the One, and she is called the Glorious One. Like Jesus, she has been to earth to learn about the people. And that is the doozy that I just wanted to lay on you.
That's interesting.
There's a daughter that, you see, we don't know everything, and we don't have all the story. We have bits and pieces of the story.
Right. Exactly. And besides the Bible, there have been a plethora, and I do mean a plethora of books written about Jesus, and a lot of different, I don't want to say different sides, but I do know that there's a lot of different information that keeps coming up the more we learn about Jesus.
Yeah. Like I said, we just don't know everything, and I think that's probably when the new information comes, it's going to be hard to swallow. But, I'm not here to sell a book. I'm here to tell everybody about this amazing contact that we have and the amazing information that I'm getting. And like I said, it's just part of me. In the beginning, when I first learned of this communication, I was so excited about it. I was so excited. I wanted to tell everybody and people who were in the community, and a couple of people I did, and they're just looking at me, like what? Who are just not in that world, and they're like, did you bump your head? And so I was so excited to talk about it and share it with everybody. And I've gotten to the point where I have come to a screeching halt, barely talking to anybody about it, to a point to where I almost don't want to talk about it all anyway, even in the UFO community, because this is just very different. and it's hard to believe, and that's why I don't do a lot of speaking on the subject. Once in a while I'll pop in, and here I am, and
You're doing fine.
I'm one of those people. I just like to lay it out. Here you go. This is what I know. I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to sell a book. I'm telling you a lot of things right here, right now. But I have some videos that I think would be good for people to listen to, and they are more messages. And there's a couple of them. One of them is about how they brought us to Earth. It was a channeled message about how they brought us to Earth. And the other message is my mother speaking and them speaking, and it's about the environment in Fukushima. And it's something that just really kind of gets you the way that they say what they had to say about how, we're not all right. And
right.
And here's another message that they gave us, and I'm going to say this is exactly the way they said it. And they said, you don't hear and you don't see. You ignore what we try to tell and show you. You are our hope, but you are demolishing the hope. You are polluting everything. You are very complex people, and we didn't make you that way to be either. But we feel responsible because we are the ones who put you together. And
very interesting. And when you say that we were brought to Earth, I always thought that we were created on Earth. So that's not the case.
No, they brought people here. They were people that they already made and brought here as adults.
I mean,
they
I know,
paired them up.
I know I heard your mom mention that what the Orions said about there's different races on different planets.
Yes.
But in in biblical terminology, in the beginning, there was, Adam and Eve were supposedly on the Garden of Eden, which I believe was here on Earth.
I'll tell you where it was. Adam and Eve were put on the planet by God. Did place them here, and God did place. So God placed the two, Adam and Eve. He also placed two here and two there, and that's also the other parts you didn't hear about. He also placed more than two. I think that when information was handed down to us, they kind of cut some corners or I don't know how they did it or whatever, but we only got part of the main people were Adam and Eve. And they said that they put them in, our Canadian friends might like this, but they said that they placed them, and now they're going to say near where this was, but they said the landscape has obviously changed so much since that time. They placed them, and it makes sense where they placed them. They said they placed them near Sarnia, Canada. It makes sense to me because they said that they had all the seasons there, and they had a great big freshwater source. So it's not the Garden of Eden. And what they said what the Garden of Eden is all the good things that God gave you. That's the Garden of Eden.
Interesting. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. And they said that is actually the place where you want to go when bad things start to happen.
Right. I like these Orions. They're very practical.
Yes, they're very down to earth.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking. considering they're not really on Earth. But there's a couple of questions I wanted to get to before I let you go tonight from the book, and one of them was a story about Zacharian and the Gray Alien. Can you Can you give
okay.
the listeners a little bit of information about that?
Yes. This was early on in our awakening about Zachariah. This was early on. I went to Ecuador, and of all places, I went to the Galapagos Islands because that's all about evolution. I don't know what led me there, but I was supposed to go there for some reason. A friend said, "Let's go," and I said, "Okay, let's go." We went, and when I came back, I wanted to have another conversation with my mother. Now, when I was there in Ecuador, I wasn't feeling very good. This is still in my period when I wasn't feeling good, dealing with this illness that I had. So I went to this really old, dilapidated church, and I prayed for my health. And so when I got back home, I went to talk to my mom to sit down and get more information from these people, who they were. It was still early on in the communication where the communication wasn't perfected. I didn't know who these people were. So I sat down with her, and immediately the first things that come out of her mouth was, "You didn't heed our warnings," and this and that, and going off. And I'm like, what? And they were going off about me and about my illness and stuff, and you didn't listen to us and things like this, and I thought to myself, they heard my prayer, and then all of a sudden my mother says, and this is a part that's really, I know it's hard to believe, but this is what happened. She paused and she says, "Somebody wants to talk to you. He says he's your guardian angel." I get a little choked up. So
it's all right. I
just went, what? And so he came through, and I started asking him questions. I was all excited, and I even got part of it on tape. And I was just asking random questions because I just was not prepared to be talking to my guardian angel, but he cleared up a lot of things that happened in the past. He told me his name is Zachariah, and he spelled it for us. And that's at the point where he told us who the people were that we're talking to. He said they are like our forefathers, and that they watch over us and they watch over him. That's when he told us about Grays. He told me he's in physical form. He's over 7 feet tall. He has a family. He's somewhere in a planet near them. I'm not sure which of the thing about the Gray you were talking about. When he was talking about the Grays, were you talking about the spaceship that I saw crash? I saw something explode in the sky.
That might have been it.
So that was probably it. So in all these questions, I had been on a plane a few months prior, and I had seen something explode that did not look, it just didn't look normal. It did not look like it wasn't a shooting star. So it was something that was on a red-eye flight. And so it's something that there was a streak that was going down. It was going down, it was a white streak, then there was a kind of a little explosion, then like it skipped, like it bounced or skipped, and there was like another explosion. And I asked him, I said, "What was that?" And he said, it was one of ours. And I said, he said it was one of their seekers.
Mm-hmm.
And he says they have a lot of them. He said it was one of our scouts. He says it's one of our scouts, and we have a lot of them. And he said they're Grays that pilot that they fly them. And he said he actually said it happens all the time. People don't know that, but they crash. He said they get into the atmosphere without putting up their shield, and they burn up.
Right.
They didn't do it in time.
Right. Yeah, that sounds sounds right. I mean, that sounds like that's the case. And
yeah.
The last thing I wanted to talk to you about or ask you really quickly, because we don't have a whole lot of time left, is are there any other people that the Orions talk to or are channeled through, or is it just your mom?
You know, they do say that they have talked to other people. I think it's not very many. You know, communication from some other of these advanced races or spirits seem to be better communication when people are speaking to spirits, and with hers, it's different. So I tend to think that they don't go out to a lot of people, but they do say that they have talked to other people and they've given them some information, but they said they haven't given, not like the information they've given us.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I would think that they did speak to other people, you know, because there's a lot, and I was wondering if they, I don't know, I guess there's no reason for them to hide who they are, but maybe they came to different people in different ways. I don't know. I keep thinking about a lot of different ways, like in the Bible, how, you know, Moses was getting visions and you know, he was getting communication through God, like, you know, through a burning bush or, you know, stuff like that, you know, and I was just wondering if that's how the Orions would come to some, you know, certain people in different forms and different ways.
I'm not sure if they do that, if they, or if it's just how they speak with my mom. But they did say that some of the other people they talk to don't want to come out with the communication. They just want to live their lives. They don't want to be ridiculed and called names, and called crazy. So they keep it to themselves. They don't tell people.
Okay. And I lied. I got one last question, but this one comes from Craig in the Spreaker chat.
Okay.
If they would sum themselves up with one word, what would it be?
If it were them, if it were me, I'd say they're the divine. I'd say divine. Them, I think they like to downplay that, and they called themselves scientific gods. That's what they called themselves. Yeah, that's 2 words.
No,
they're scientific gods, they said. But I think they downplay who they are. And also, when we brought up the God speaking through a burning bush, I asked them about that, and they said that it wasn't a bush. It was the burning. What they say? The burning bush didn't mean a bush was burning. That's what they said. So my feeling is that, I don't know if you've ever heard of these orbs that look like fire.
Yes.
My feeling
balls
is
of light.
My feeling is that that's what it was. Some sort of ball of light that looked like fire.
Yeah, that could
be. The closest thing someone could say was that it was a burning bush.
Right, that does make sense.
They also said that the 10 Commandments, they are in Mount Sinai. They said that the what do you call it? The thing that carried them, Ark of the Covenant. They said that was made of wood, and it disintegrated long ago. They said that the Shroud of Turin is the real thing. And I have a few little things like that. I'll just shout out here. They said one time, they like to say things to get me to think, and they just volunteer these things. And they said they asked me, where in the body does the soul reside? I'm like, I don't know. They said, in the head and in the heart. In the head and in the heart. One is not good without the other.
Right. No, that makes total sense. And, to get back to Craig's comment or question, I would have to sum them up as, in one word, so far that I've heard tonight, friend.
Yeah.
And
and that's the thing too. There are a lot of people out there that have it in their mind that the bad reptilians come from their planet, and that's not true.
Not true.
They do come from the planet, the same planet as people are saying that's where the bad reptilians come from, but that's not true. They said there are some reptilians near them and a planet near them, but they're the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that's cleared up. I mean, seriously, because that could be bad for them. Athena, I'm sorry, we are just about out of time. I mean, I told you this was going to go by quick. So, and Sunrise, I apologize, could not get to your question. Maybe next time I have Athena on my show, you can come and check out, and we'll ask more questions for the Orion. So, Athena, where can we find more information about you and your? I'm not sure, is your book still out there? The Theologians of Orion, Our Creators Speak.
Oh yeah, it's still there. It's still there. Everything can be found on my website, thetheologiansoforion.com. There's actually, my videos are there, but you can also find them on YouTube you can look up Athena Zeub. The videos, I highly recommend watching those. You will hear my mother speak in one of them, and it's her channeling them about the environment in Fukushima. And it's very, it really gets you because of the words that they used, and it's very shocking. And then there was another one about how they created us and brought us to Earth. And there's some drawings of some of the beings that they channeled to us on there. Okay. And it starts out with Adam and Eve had 2 children. How can you make more people on the planet if all you have is a mother, a father, and 2 brothers? It doesn't happen. And that is where the help came in. And that was them.
Right.
The Orions.
Wow. Definitely going to have everyone, you got to check it out. Theologians, the Orions. And once again, Athena, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon. And thanks again to your mom for coming on the show as well.
I sure will. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Athena. Have a good night.
Okay, good night.
Well, thank you again, Space Travelers, for a great night, a great evening, great show. Thank you again, Athena Zeub and the Orions, the Theologians of Orions. And thanks again, Mom, for coming on the show. Everyone have a good night. Remember, tomorrow night is Elizabeth Anglin for Psychic Sundays on Spaced Out Radio's Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. And remember, I will be on Beyond the Strange Radio tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Everyone stay safe. Have a good night. And remember, stay spacey. Hasta.
Turn me inside out and then turn me